college is what determines how an individual spends the rest of their life. College is very expensive, especially if someone wants to get into a university. Some students receive scholarships for sports, but most students in the U.S. have to pay full price if they want to go to college. College should be free to help families with low incomes get their children into college. There are multiple reasons why college should be free. First off is student loan debt. Student loan debt is one of the most important issues with college today because of how expensive it can get. Second, students may be very intelligent, but their families might not be able to afford college. And lastly is the stress. The prices that come with college can cause an intense amount of stress on students and also their families. Last year, student loan debt had a tremendous increase. Student debt has been increasing the past 10 years, and it doesn't look like it's coming to an end. Many college students are paying over $50,000 in student loans today. There is no reason someone should have to pay that much money just to get an education. Kenneth W. Warren and Samir Santi, who both wrote Why College Should Be Free, said, student loans that are yet to be paid add up to around $1 trillion. These are all college graduates, and some of these students have yet to pay are still in college. That $1 trillion has been at a constant increase, and it doesn't look like it will stop for anything in its way. Student debt is the only form of debt that has to have increased since the recession of 2008. If this continues to happen, students will not be able to participate in the economy, as they will be incapable of buying houses, cars, food, and maybe not even being able to start a family. It's clear that state governments aren't funding colleges enough. Cuts to state funding have been attended by incredible tuition increases. Putting the cost onto future generations is not what the government should do. States need to take responsibility and put some money into public colleges and universities. It's better to value higher education for its capability to provide students with knowledge and guidance, educating them to be good decision makers, making them a part of the economy. People need to rethink what the purpose of higher education really is. Higher education is more than just simple preparation for a future career. Rather, it teaches students how to gain knowledge and think deeply about the world they live in. Judith Lechner, the author of Should College Be Free for All, says, "It is very important to protect the greatest tool for our social justice, and this should be done by first decreasing the cost of college." The youth today is the future of this world. It makes more sense to make college free rather than having students pay thousands of dollars just to pay off their student loans. As said, students may be very intelligent, but some families might not be able to afford college. There are many families in the U.S. that are living off a low income. The expense of college certainly doesn't help those students get into college. Sarah Sidoti, the author of Free College for Whom, said, even without free college as an option at the federal level, researchers have found that college costs influences the behavior of college students, specifically reductions in tuition for low-income students. Reductions in tuition for low-income students ultimately increase the attendance at colleges. This is especially important to note given the stratification of college enrollment across an individual's family income. Although students from lower income families are less likely to attend college than higher income families, reductions in higher education costs have shown more students attending college. Making college free benefits low income states such as Vermont, which spends about $4,300 per student from the Treasury and leaves students to pay an average of $11,400 a year in tuition, says Kevin Carey, the author of Free College Fantasy. North Carolina spends $10,400 per student, more than double what Pennsylvania does, while taking in about $5,500 in tuition per student. Total spending in both states is fairly similar, but one sticks students with most of their college bills, while the other does not. Low-income families don't have many options when it comes to a college. A member of the family might be very intelligent, but the family cannot afford a community college. But it can only afford a community college. The last thing a student wants to not be able to do is go to the college they want because of the expenses college comes with. The final reason college should be free is the stress it causes students to have. The prices that come with college cause an intense amount of stress to not only students, but their families too. Here is a story about a man who killed himself because of his student loan debt. It was a cool afternoon back in 2007. Jan Yoder noticed that her son, Jason, seemed quieter than he usually is. Jason graduated from Illinois State University with a major in organic chemistry, but after receiving around $125,000 in student loan debts, he was having a hard time finding a job in the organic chemistry field. Jason, who was about 34, left the family's house one night. Concerned about her son, Jan decided the next morning to go look for him on campus, where she meets one of Jason's old professors. The professor joined Jan in the search for Jason, and later that morning, they both found his body in a lab on campus. They called the police at 8:30 a.m., and about 30 minutes later, Jason was declared dead at the scene due to nitrogen poisoning. This story shows what student loans can make somebody do. It's never okay to commit suicide, but committing suicide because he couldn't pay off his student loan debt, that's a whole other story. Nothing in this world should be that bad to make someone feel that way. Making college free would release so much stress off of students' shoulders. Barmak Nasirian disagrees with free college. He is a college education policy analyst, and he thinks if we make college free, the cost of higher education will be put onto someone else's shoulders. Most likely, the government's. Barmak quotes, "Getting rid of tuition through political consensus wouldn't make college free. It would simply shift the real cost of college onto someone else's shoulders, mostly the government's. Yes, all of the weight might leave students' shoulders and go onto the government's, but this doesn't change the fact that it will literally save students' lives and their families. Students have more important things to do when they leave college, such as finding a career that will help them throughout the rest of their life. There are college graduates still paying debt from 10 or plus years ago. When a student graduates college, they want to start their career with a job they will have for the rest of their lives. If this isn't enough stress going through their heads, I can't imagine still having to pay off thousands of dollars. College is the most important time in an individual's life. It determines what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. It isn't the best choice to not go to college, but it also isn't some people's choices. Not being able to go to college because someone's family can't afford it would be the worst possible outcome. College should be free to help families with low incomes get their children to college. Not only will it help low-income families, but it will help all families. It will reduce the stress college puts on parents and their children, and it would also reduce the frequency of student loan debts tremendously. When or if college is going to be free, no one knows, but it will change the world profoundly. The government now is definitely not going to make college free, but if people begin to notice how bad college has become over the years, they might be able to make a change. Thank you for listening.